I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little worried about snakes. We have diamondback rattlers and water moccasins out here. Oh, and mosquitoes and dog flies. That's one of those old plastic sheds that someone gave me that I never turned into a shed, and I'll actually use that as part of my deer blind. It's an overcast day here in what we normally call the Sunshine State in North Florida. We had some fog and some little bit of light misting. I'm actually getting a little mist on me now as I was driving up here to our recreational property 2.5 hours east of Piney Grove. So I'll be out here on the property today working, and I'm going to be working on that condo behind me. I did a little work in a previous video, but the day got away from me and I wasn't able to wrap that up. So I'm going to try and get this thing completely buttoned up today and then move on to the next one. So today's video is going to be a little bit about that, a little bit about deer condos, a little bit about food plotting. But the biggest thing I think I want to kind of weave in with today is, why am I doing this? I got an incredible picture of an incredible buck from a good friend of mine here in Florida. He went up to Alabama and he just killed a gorgeous, beautiful buck that's obviously gonna be on his wall. So that trigger pull probably cost him about $1,000. And I was kind of thinking about that as I was driving here today. Like, why am I doing all this work? Why am I taking all my Saturdays and my Sundays and taking vacation time from work, coming out here, liming, planting, working on these condos, spending money on lumber, and just in general doing all that, you know, with no chance of ever killing a buck like he did just yesterday or last night when he got it. And I thought about that, and I actually talk about this a little bit with Miss Piney Grove, Deb. And, you know, she's like, well, just go do it. Just go somewhere and pay for a hunt and get that lifetime buck. But again, thinking about it as I was driving here, that's not what I want to do. I want to do this on my own. I want to have more of a feeling of satisfaction, more of a feeling of that I earned it other than I paid for it. So hopefully I can make that make sense throughout the video. But for now, let's unload this truck and get to work on this condo. All right, so before we actually get to work, I just wanted to show this plot here. Last week when I was out here working on the steps of this condo, I was kind of disappointed with the herbicide burn off of this plot. Still kind of looked green last week. Well, here it is 1 week later, so the guys had 2 weeks to work. So you can see behind me, it's starting to get nice and brown. It'll be crispy if it wasn't a little bit misty out here today. It'll get crispy and ready to be tilled up. All that grass, that weeds, everything that's out there that I don't want to grow, is going to get tilled into the soil and enrich the soil and get us ready for planting. So right in front of this condo, this alcove right here, there's a deer trail that comes out from there. And when I came around the corner, there was actually a doe sitting right there that I got where I'm standing. She was right there. My truck got right to here before she ran off. So going back to my intro, that's one of the reasons why I do it. So I have these encounters with wildlife out here, and I'm not just doing it once on a paid hunt, but I get to experience these type of encounters with wildlife throughout the year and repeatedly throughout the hunting season. This window right here isn't closing anymore. Looks like it's kind of bowed down. So it's sagging. In order to fix that, I can cut an angle here with the Sawzall so it doesn't catch on that lip. That window is still catching a little bit, and it's very important that I be able to open that window and close it with no sound at all, because I can have deer 20, 30 yards away and close that window and escape out the back here, and they'll never know I was there. I don't want to educate the deer to look up. I want them always to be calm in the plot, so it's essential that I get all these windows opening and closing silently, quickly, and softly, I guess. All right, guys, so I've got the interior just about done. I've got the door here behind me where it has a little piece of wire where I can keep the door wired open. All the windows open and close silently and quickly, or silently and softly. And then I also built a shelf here in the lower part, like where my knees are. But I wanted to show you something interesting. So come here, take a look. So if you look at this wall of this condo, you'll see a stoplight, and that was a ship, and that's a kite, and there was probably a car or something over there. So a lot of this condo was made with recycled lumber, and that was actually a piece of plywood that I painted for my son when he was a baby. He's 22 now, and I used it on this condo when I built it 12 years ago. And all the framing of this condo is ripped down 2x4s from houses that were built that were never sold, and they went in and bulldozed them down, and there were some full-length 2x4s I was able to reclaim, take the screws out and the nails out, and make this condo out of. So I did as much as possible to make this condo as cheap as possible. It would probably cost you well over $1,000, if not $1,500 in lumber, to build this condo today in 2022. All right, with the interior of the condo almost done, I'm gonna switch to the exterior. And this is what's called peel and stick. And if you're not familiar with it, it's a roofing felt, but it's got a sticky backing. And it's not sticky like tape or anything. It's just got a slight tack to it. And then when it's up against sheathing or wood, the sun will actually soften this black part right here, and it'll stick. And what it's made to do is in high wind environments like down here in Florida, when they put this on the roof, when the actual shingles were to blow off from a hurricane, then this would stay behind, and hopefully it would save the roof from getting wet and water from getting in the house. So Hurricane Michael went through our area 4 years ago. It totally devastated this area. I'll throw up some pictures here of what it did to this particular plot. It blew over this condo, it blew over that condo, it broke off trees this big around that were all in the plot. It destroyed thousands of homes. It did billions of dollars in damage, and not only homes, but also these planted pines that people rely on their livelihood for. But one thing that did happen is a lot of contractors came in our area to rebuild us, and they were from all over, and they were very generous with their supplies. So if they needed, let's say, 100 sheets of plywood, they would buy 200 sheets of plywood and just leave it behind and move on to the next job. But this was a byproduct of Hurricane Michael, because my friend's roof got redone and they left 4 rolls of this, and he was going to throw it out. And 4 years ago I said, or 3 years ago I said, yeah, I'll put a roll in my shed, and here we are going to use it on the condo. Well guys, that was a big old fail. I got up on the ladder with the peeling stick and tried to use the stapler, and it just had no power. And I thought maybe the extension cord wasn't, properly grounded or plugged in. So I came down the generator, I revved it up, and I plugged the stapler directly into the generator. Then it still didn't have any power. So then I put my Sawzall in there, and Sawzall ran fine. And I kept that running wide open so the generator would be running wide open and producing power. And the stapler still didn't have any power. So I don't know if it failed on the last thing I did up at Piney Grove, because it was working fine just a couple of weeks ago. But I may be buying a new stapler. All right guys, since I can't put that peeling stick around the top up there, what I'm doing here is, I don't want this ladder to bow as I'm climbing it. Over time, even though I've painted these boards to protect them from the carpenter bees and also to protect them from the elements, they're treated boards, but they're also painted. I don't want that to bow over time. I reclaimed 2 boards, that'll be good enough. And just to show you what a carpenter bee does, look at the end of that board. Here's a hole here, there's a hole here. So this board is not nearly as strong as a 2x4 without holes in it. I'm gonna go from here to there and keep it from bowing. And then also I have to design some sort of handrail. It's not really a handrail. What I need to do, I need to figure out some sort of framing so as I come down the ladder, the deer can't see me. You can probably tell by the color I'm using recycled screws, but this isn't really that important. This is just kind of an extra brace. Okay, that's nice and sturdy. That ties the ladder to the 4x4s going up to the condo. And you see it's moving a little bit. It's not, anchored in concrete with 6x6s like our pole barn out at Piney Grove. It's a freestanding structure. And after the hurricane, after it blew over, I didn't want it to blow over again. So I actually put mobile home anchors into the ground and bolted them to the legs. But that's pretty sturdy. That keeps this from bending in any. And it's treated wood, so it's going to last. What you got to worry about is from the underneath, the carpenter bees will burrow in. So I painted all these on all 4 sides, but you can see the ends here from the cutoffs are not painted. That makes it susceptible to the carpenter bees, but they don't generally bore from here. They're generally going to bore from up underneath the shaded area, the overhang area. All right, so that's looking good. I just got to make one more cut, and then this part will be done. I'm not even going to square it. I'm just going to eyeball it. I started off this video talking about why I'd rather have property versus go on a guided or an expensive hunt. It's not necessarily about the money, but rather than spending money to go somewhere and have someone take me to a certain area of the woods or to a certain blind and then shoot a real, big deer there. I put it on my wall. This gives me recreation year round. Now it is a lot of work, but I'd much rather be out here doing this, working on this condo, working this land, doing that sort of stuff, and do that many weekends throughout the year than to go somewhere for one weekend and harvest a trophy buck. Now, it's also not just about trophy bucks, it's also about wildlife encounters like we talked about earlier. So I can come out here and sit 10, 12, 14 times. I'll bring my rifle every time, but I don't have to, and I definitely don't shoot every time I come out here. There's usually something for me to shoot. I have tags where I can take does. I can also take bucks during the hunting season. And there's also bobcats, the occasional pig, coyotes, things like that. But I can also just sit here and watch wildlife. We see bald eagles swoop down and grab the thatch from the plot and take to make their nests with. We see woodpeckers. We see all sorts of different birds. You have doves. There's an owl or a hawk or both that actually will sit on the feeder pole over there and hunt out here. And I don't know what they're hunting. There's something in the ground. And you can just sit in the condo and watch, and they will land on the ground and grab something and eat it and fly off. There's just tons of opportunities to view wildlife. So again, if you went somewhere for the weekend to go on a guided hunt and then shot your shot on just that one event, then what do you do the rest of the year? That's the long answer to why I choose to do this and spend the money and the time, because I like to be outdoors. And now I'm going to enjoy my sandwich. Okay, lunch is over. Time to get back to work. I think I got a plan how to take this up there to kind of visualize it. I actually had to hold the button on the table saw to get the motor completely up to speed, because every time I just hit the switch, it would the table saw would kick off. But a little 2,000 watt generator actually ran that 15 amp table saw. Pretty impressive. Okay, we're starting to figure out this framing for the side height or whatever you want to call it. So as you're going up the ladder, you can't be seen from the plot. So there's a lot of weird angles, but I think I got it figured out. I ripped one of my new 2x4s in half. Yeah, that scared me a little. So that's a door right there, that plastic door, and it's got a little lip under it. And then here's the other part, and it's got a lip on it right there. So I think I can slide that up under there, and it should stay by itself. Be a huge time saver if this works. It worked. All right, guys, we're just about done with this one. I got these scraps of plastic I'm gonna throw up here, because where I cut off the top of the pine trees in front of the condo, you could actually see through these blockers I have here. So I got these extra pieces of plastic. I'm just gonna screw them in here, and then I think we're done. So this is taking way longer than I thought. So don't ever ask me to estimate a job for you, because I'm just gonna get it wrong. So just triple it. If I say it's 1 day, it's 3 days. But I've been giving some more thought to the whole country thing, the whole being outdoors thing. And it's not just being outdoors, being outside, because I guess you can be outside anywhere. You can be outside in the city, but it's doing the things outside that you can only do in the country. Riding four-wheelers, shooting your guns, your rifles, your pistols, whatever. That's something that you can do when you have recreational property. I love being outdoors with my tractor, driving my tractor. And it's hot outside in the summertime in Florida, but still, it's fun to drive the tractor, to work the land, to mow it, to till it. Precious, our mini excavator, it's fun just to get on that for a few hours and go in the woods and dig out stumps and clear trails and things like that. But I just enjoy working hard. Makes the day go by. It makes you feel accomplished, I guess, at the end of the day. And that's important to me. And being busy and being outdoors kind of go hand in hand when you have tractors and excavators and ATVs and you like to hunt. All right, let's go up this ladder into this condo, do a little caulking, shut the windows, and get out of here. But I'm going to show you what all this effort's been about. As I climb this ladder, I'll point the camera towards the plot, and you'll see there's no way a deer can see me climb this ladder or climb down it. So the food plot's through there, and you can see a peep of it through there. There's my trailer and my truck. So that's screened kind of loosely, but there's nothing I can do about that till that grows back. Come up here, you're completely covered all the way up your right side. As you come up the condo, we'll peek over this edge, and you'll see the food plot. So all that work not only hides you from the deer, but having this here just gives an extra layer of safety. I typically climb into this condo about 4:30 in the morning. It's very dark and it could be wet, maybe a little slippery. So you don't want to fall off 12 feet at any time in your life or during the day, but certainly not with a rifle over your shoulder and at 4 in the morning. So looking out, that's what it looks like. And then there's the 3-foot porch. And there's the steps. And the walking path that comes in from the road so I can come in quietly. And then once you're in the condo and seated, now you used to be able to see out here, but all the trees grew up. If you come over here, you can see the food plot. You can see the condo over there on the other side. And here's the side window. But that's all food plot, food plot, food plot, and the big food plot. Put in the shelf as well today. It's just some place to put your drink and your rangefinder. Then I have a little piece of foam right here so I can lean my rifle against there and it doesn't make any noise. And then these shelves are just to put your elbows on so you have a good solid rest so you can make a nice clean shot. Even though I glued and screwed this plywood to this treated ripped down 2x4, over the years it's pulled away. So I'm going to fill that with caulking and then hit it with some Flex Seal. I'm using this Quad Max Clear. You seal it with this, it's not going anywhere, whereas other caulkings will lift after a while. They'll just lose their stickiness. All right, we got some Flex Seal. That's some stinky stuff right there, man. I don't know. It goes on cool. I don't know if it does anything. So if you like today's video, please click that like button down below and also comment. We'd love to hear from you. And also for other channels out there that you watch, do the same for them. Creators work hard to give you good content. We're always looking for feedback. And by clicking the like button and also leaving a comment, it tells YouTube that you guys are enjoying our stuff and you would like to see more of it, and they will spread the word to other people that might enjoy it as well. So help us and other content creators out that you watch, and we would sure appreciate it. But otherwise, that's all I've got. So until the next video, y'all take care out there. And remember, life's short, get outdoors.